We are currently 19 weeks pregnant. Insanity. A couple of weeks ago, I had an amniocentesis done. I wasn't feeling ready at the time to talk about that. There was a lot going on emotionally that day, but I feel like we've had time to kind of process that experience, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. If you're not familiar with what an amniocentesis is, it's a procedure where they insert a very large needle into the abdomen, through the uterine wall to access the amniotic fluid and withdraw whatever amount they need so that they can send it off for testing. And they do this all under guided ultrasound. Our daughter had a very, very rare genetic disorder. We discovered that literally a couple of weeks before I found out that I was pregnant with this baby. We had to do multiple rounds of genetic testing to finally get those results, because the research regarding that genetic disorder is very new. Now that we know what genetic disorder our late daughter had, we are able to do target testing. So that is why we decided to get an amnio for this baby. It won't change anything as far as decisions go for us. We just want to have the knowledge so that we can prepare our hearts and our minds and our spirits. Hopefully we won't be walking this road twice, but that's why we chose to get it. This experience was so different in so many ways from my first amnio. The first one that I had done was just a whirlwind. I went in for my 20-week scan with our daughter Marsaili, expecting everything to totally be fine. Everything was not totally fine. The doctor came in very quickly, said, I have a lot of concerns. I really want you to get down to see perinatal specialists as soon as possible. So I've already called them. They're ready for you. You'll probably do an amnio today. All of that was just so overwhelming and happened so fast. And during that time, there were still COVID restrictions. So I was alone. Went, did the registration, went down. And before you get an amniocentesis done, they typically do a full anatomy scan just to see what issues they're concerned with. And that can help with selecting what tests they want to run. I did all of that by myself. We did about 45 minutes worth of scans. After that, the doctor came in, spoke with me. My husband was on speakerphone. All of that was just, it was just so emotionally just overwhelming. And once we decided that we were going to proceed with an amniocentesis to try to determine what was going on, my husband dropped off our son and then he came with me. So he was able to be there with me for that procedure, but nothing leading up to that. I just remember, I was in shock. I was in just survival mode. This time around, it was planned. We knew from the get-go. We knew the moment that I found out that I was pregnant, we knew that this was going to be the route that we were going to go, because we wanted to know. We knew, like I said, we found out 2 or 3 weeks before I found out that I was pregnant, that we finally had an answer, that we had this genetic marker. So I had literally 4 months that I had been preparing mentally for this procedure, and still we got there and I was just, again, in survival mode, because I had constantly been trying to be protective of my emotions, I guess. We did all of the scans. My husband was with me, thank God. Thankfully, all of the scans looked mostly good. And that was overwhelming. That information was like, oh my gosh. You kind of let your guard down, but you don't want to let it down too much. It was so terrifying, but it was terrifying in a different way. Amniocentesis is not, I think the best way that I could describe it is, the physical pain is not what's painful about that procedure. It's the complete just lack of control that you have in that moment. It's a very quick procedure. It only lasts a few minutes. but it just feels wrong. You're laying on this table and you just feel so claustrophobic, like get this thing away from me. This shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be in my space. You just feel so protective of your body and your child at that moment. It's just, I was so grateful that my husband was with me during both of those procedures, because all I could do was just hold his hand and just pray in that moment, like, keep me calm, it'll be over in a minute. And then it was. But for those 3 minutes, it's just a very overwhelming experience. Not because of pain. I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not the most comfortable procedure in the world, don't get me wrong. But because you feel just this urge to protect your child at all costs, and you're fighting that urge so that you can protect your child and get the information that you need. That's where we're at right now. Hopefully we'll get results back this week. It's just a lot.